Our story today is Joshua and the walls of Jericho. Now, before Moses died, he said to Joshua, "You are going to be the new leader of the people of Israel, and you are going to take them into the promised land." Now, Joshua knew that this was not going to be easy, and he didn't know how he was going to manage it, so he talked to God about it. And this is what God said. He said, "Be strong and brave. Be sure to obey all the teachings my servant Moses gave you. If you follow them exactly, you will be successful in everything you do. Always remember what is written in the book of the teachings. Study it day and night to be sure to obey everything that is written there. If you do this, you will be wise and successful in everything." Now, the city of Jericho was part of the promised land, and it was surrounded by a huge wall. Joshua knew it was not going to be easy to capture the city of Jericho. So Joshua sent some spies to check out the city, and the king of Jericho heard about this and became very worried that his city was going to be invaded by the Israelites. Now, the Israelites walked towards the city. Problem was, there was a river to cross before they even got to the city walls. How were they going to cross this river? You know, God did an amazing thing. He stopped the flow of the river, and the people of Israel just walked across. So then they get to the wall. Joshua told the people of Israel to camp there that night. And during the night, a stranger appeared to Joshua, and Joshua knew that he was from God. He stood there with a sword, and he reminded Joshua that it was God that was in control of this and not him, and he only had to do what God told him to do. Now, God gave him some very specific instructions of how to get into Jericho. So this was the plan. Joshua was to get 7 priests, each of them with a ram's horn, and they would use the ram's horn like a trumpet and blow the trumpet. And then there would be priests carrying the covenant chest. That was the chest that reminded them of God's presence being with them. And they would carry that chest behind the priests that were blowing the trumpets. And then there would be soldiers in front of them and soldiers behind them. And they would march in procession around the wall of Jericho. And that would be the first day, and then they would go back to camp. Now, the king saw them doing this, the king of Jericho, and he wondered what on earth they were doing. And he got a little bit worried, so he got the gates closed quickly. Anyway, Joshua got the priests and the soldiers to do exactly the same thing on day 2 that had done on day 1. Get in procession, blow the trumpets, walk around the walls, back to camp. They did that for 6 days. And on the 7th day, they marched around the walls 7 times. Now, on the 7th time, the priests blowing their trumpets, but they did one loud blast, and that was the cue for the people of Israel to shout at the top of their voices. And as they did that, God's superpower brought the walls of Jericho come tumbling down. And the people of Israel were just able to walk right into the city and capture the city. Jericho was captured by God's people because Joshua trusted God and obeyed him. God helped his people get through an impossible wall and move into their new home. God appeared to Joshua as a man to fight for the people of Israel and bring them to their new home. Joshua had nothing to fear. Jesus came to earth as a man to fight for us to take the punishment for the broken love so that we can one day be with him in heaven. Which means we have nothing to fear. Like Joshua, we can trust and obey God, and his superpower, the Holy Spirit, can make us strong and courageous.